performance mode, and I highly do recommend this, especially if you're not a content creator. But even if I'm a content creator, performance mode still looks really good in videos. I just have it at 3D resolution 100% just so it looks the best. Then view distance is on far, texture is on medium, and then meshes are on high. I don't really like low mesh builds, especially for videos. Kind of makes it look bad. But anyways, moving on, I have VSync off, show FPS on. This is completely optional, and then of course performance mode like I mentioned. Then moving on. Alright, so as you guys can see, for my movement settings right here, I have Sprint by default on. I highly recommend putting this on just so when you're running or anything, you don't have to hold shift. Just helps it free your keyboard and makes it a lot easier and makes it kind of less cluttered, if that makes sense. Scrolling down here, this is kind of normal, nothing crazy there. Then over here we have turbo building. That's kind of obvious. This is on. Disable pre-edit option. I highly recommend having this on, especially when you're new to keyboard and mouse, because especially when I was just switched, or if anyone in general, honestly, you sometimes do mess up edits on your building, and this just kind of helps to prevent that. Then by far the most important setting over here is confirm edit on release. There's really no reason not to be using this. You edit 2 times faster because instead of pressing the button twice, you have to press it only once. As soon as you release it, it edits. It's a lot better. There's like no argument against that, to be honest. Then over here, nothing crazy, and then replay mode is just off. That's basically default. Everyone knows that. For any of you guys that are wondering, for my game UI, this is not really important at all, but for my HUD skill, I have it at 65%. Nothing else here is really important, I'm not gonna lie. They just added these settings like for controller, like literally today, so this does not apply to us at all. Moving on though, we finally get into the juicy setting. So here we have my sensitivity. So for my sensitivity, I'm playing at 3.5% X and Y on 1600 DPI. This is about a medium to average sensitivity. It's not too low or too high. Before, I used to have a really high sensitivity, so my building and editing was insane, but my aim was absolutely terrible, so I kind of lowered it gradually. If you guys are going to lower your settings, make sure, or if you guys are going to lower your sensitivity, make sure you kind of lower it little by little. Don't just go from 7% to 3%. You're going to be absolutely terrible. Just lower it by probably 0.2 or 0.3% every day. I truly believe that the sensitivity I have right now is the best of both worlds. You have the perfect balance of editing, building, and aiming, all that crucial stuff. Then for targeting and my scope sensitivity, it's at 33.5%. You can kind of move around with this. It doesn't really matter. This is kind of important, especially when you're like aiming it. But yeah, that's just my targeting and scope. Here, this is not important at all. I don't use double movement for those of you guys that are wondering. I used to use double movement, but it bugged out a lot, so yeah, I don't use it anymore. These are controller settings. I don't use controller at all. Sound settings, literally nothing crazy over here. Sound settings, no one cares about that. But now we have the keybinds, the part all of you guys have been waiting for. So WASD movement, spacebar for jump, and then crouch is left control. Sometimes people use left shift or something. Control just kind of feels natural for me. You can kind of change that around. Fire is left mouse button, target is right, nothing changes there. Or so for reload, we have it on R. This is the default Fortnite keybind. It's right next to my D key, which is my right movement key, obviously. It's not like I'm spamming this every fight or anything like that, so it's not affecting my movement. It's just super comfortable to press. Anyway, same story with E. It's the same thing for use. You just pick up weapons and it's in a really good and easy spot to press. All these settings, all of these, the reload, use, and the hard VC tool, I all use my pointer finger to press them. So for my pickaxe, I didn't already mention, but it's on T, as you guys can see right here. It's not that much of a stretch from the D key. Sometimes it affects my movement, but usually when you're actually building an arena or something, you're not like flinging your pickaxe around. Maybe just in creative, if you're trying to hit clips, that's the only time you're doing it. Alright, so for my weapon slots, this is where I kind of incorporated my mouse. I didn't use any of my side mouse buttons yet over here. Before my slot number 1, this is where I keep my AR, so like regular AR, nothing crazy like that. It's when I click down on my mouse. It's not scroll down or up, nothing like that. It's when you literally click down on it, and it's, you would think that sometimes you might mess up, but I never messed up with that. It's just super easy to do. Then for my weapon slot 2, I have it on mouse wheel down. I'll explain later why I don't have this for my scroll wheel reset. I do use scroll wheel reset, it's just a different kind of keybind, but scroll wheel down just really easy to press. Of course, not really press, but scroll. Pulls out my shotgun immediately. I always have my shotgun in the second weapon slot. So for weapon slot number 3, this is where I keep my SMG, sniper, or extra healables. In this slot though, I have it on caps lock, and I use my pinky finger to press it. I kind of have my pinky finger free on those kind of side buttons, so this is really easy to press. Then for my slot number 4 and 5, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of ran out of space, but I just put this on X and Z. I press this really easy because of muscle memory now. Might take a little bit of getting used to, but it's not that hard, I can't even lie. But I would recommend maybe putting slot number 4 on tab or something, because I usually just use tab for my inventory, and that's not really an important keybind. Anyway, scrolling down here, we have the building section. Arguably the most important section, of course, the building section when it comes to keybinds. For my crouch, I have it on left control. My wall is actually on Q, and I use my ring finger to press it. It's super easy since I barely have any keybinds on my ring finger at all. Usually people bind their wall to their side mouse button, but I just bind it to other building typing like commands to my mouse, if that makes sense. But for my floor here, I have my thumb mouse button. One, I think it's called, so it's this one right here, the one that's closest to the wheel and everything, so the front one. And then for my back one, I have the stairs. It just is really comfortable to do. Also, when you do 90s, what I discovered is that when you first switch to keyboard and mouse, it's really easy to do 90s with these keybinds, because all you have to do is press Q, and then you slide your finger across these two keybinds, and it places the floor and the stair. I don't really do that too much anymore, but it's super easy to do 90s with these keybinds. I learned it in about 5 minutes or so. It was really, really easy. But for my roof, we have it, or my cover, I have it on left shift. This is also the keybind that Mongraal uses and a lot of other pro players. Definitely really good keybind. It's on pinky, which is definitely when your finger set are more free, so that you have a lot of room to work with there. Shift is definitely a really easy keybind to press. Now for my trap, I have it on B, and I kind of use my thumb or pointer finger. Just kind of depends what finger is closer to it or more open. Nothing really crazy over there. Then for my place building, obviously left mouse button. Repair and upgrade builds, I have it on H. It's kind of far, I can't even lie. I probably should have changed it to G. I use G for marking things, like pinging things. I probably should change it to G, but anyways, I have it on H. I rarely repair my builds or anything. It's not really something you do like crazy for it. Then for my rotate building, I have it on right mouse button. I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember the last time I rotated my builds. I almost never do this. It's not really something common Fortnite players do, to be honest. So yeah, that's not really important. Then for my change building material, I have it on 2, and this is fairly easy to reach up. It's right above my W key, and I use my middle finger to press this. It's the only keybind that I have on a number actually, so it's not cluttered up there at all. Then for the building edit, this is definitely an important keybind. I have it on F. This is directly next to my movement key, so sometimes it affects my movement, but not a crazy ton at all. By far, I think the most common editing bind is actually F, so nothing to worry about there. It really feels comfortable, and it's with your pointer finger, which is really easy to press, like I mentioned. Then for my building, basically my reset. Over here, I mentioned earlier that I use mouse wheel or scroll wheel down for my shotgun, which people usually use to reset. I use scroll wheel up, so it's the exact same thing, just up instead. You can kind of switch those around, all up to you. Then here, I don't even know why I have F12 binded. I literally never do this or whatever that is. Then for my select building edit, it is of course on left mouse button. Nothing crazy over there. That's just what literally anyone would do. Like I mentioned, my ping and place marker are on G. And then over here, we got emote on N, and then nothing's really important. I'll just kind of scroll through this though. No one's gonna really care about this though. It's not crazy at all. Just default keybinds here. Of course, you guys can change these keybinds as much as you like. It's all up to you guys. But if you did enjoy this video or I provided any kind of value to you guys, please make sure to drop a sub. It's really appreciated, and I put a lot of effort into these videos, so please make sure to sub. You guys have no idea how much that helps me out. Last thing I want to promo is to make sure you use code ForMax. It's by far the best way to support me, and it's super appreciated.
7 minutes.